Bless. I don't sleep on no beef. We ain't sleeping no. You know I'm on top of everything. Run grass and they don't shoot cribs. They gon' give you one chance. Like come outside or we gon' come in, boy. When I pull up and make them catch a lot. Blue beam on that chopper. Kamehameha. I throw them Dragon Balls at you like I'm Kakarot.
I've just been thinking about this franchise and how much I used to love it, man. Like, I know it's going through a hard time and it's kind of becoming popular opinion to hate on this show because how bad Boruto has been. But I've been trying to give Boruto a chance again, trying to see the enjoyment I can get out of characters I used to love. And even though I don't like the direction, I still really love this franchise, man. And it's fascinating because I remember, like, after it ended, I felt like I mentally put myself in a position to kind of like downplay how much I love the series, because this show's like One Piece that everyone is supposed to love apparently, and like, oh, and I don't like really falter to popular opinion, but I think I try to convince myself to try to say that, well, I don't really like One Piece like that, but I would like concede and say One Piece is the better story, you know, kind of like throw some people a bone. And I just naturally kind of felt like I needed to back myself away from Naruto because I kind of got everything I wanted from it. But I started to regain my love of the franchise and kind of like understand how much I really do like the show when I watch people like Afro Senju, who put Naruto music in pretty much everything, even the Dragon Ball video he'll put Naruto music in it, or just kind of seeing how much Naruto's referenced and how I still remember freaking the Chidori and all the Katone attacks, and I still remember a lot of techniques in Japanese, and just how much it affected me. Like, Dragon Ball is my favorite franchise of all time, but Naruto's literally second place. And I know that's a very mainstream answer, but just because something's mainstream doesn't mean it's a bad opinion. And I know this kind of contradicts a lot of opinions I've had like 2 or 3 years ago, but bruh, that's a long time from now. I'm allowed to change my opinion. And I know this is gonna be a hot take, but I really think One Piece is kind of boring compared to Naruto, and that's just my opinion. It's just, I don't really gem with One Piece like that at all, really. I stopped watching it and reading it for a while now. It's just not been that interesting to me, especially the anime. And Naruto's going down the same path, but I just want to talk about how much I love Naruto and how I started off being a Naruto hater and just really loving Naruto, the character in the franchise, over time, and just how much it sticks with me, man. Like, I even went back to Naruto Stone Forward, even though with all his problems, it's cool reliving the Naruto story. And I just want to talk about it without the effects of like everyone telling me, well, Naruto the character is gay for Sasuke, or that the ending was rushed and blah 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 blah. I just want to talk about why I like the show, regardless of how other people feel. Now, I remember when Naruto first came out on Toonami, I was kind of like salty because Dragon Ball GT ended it, and when Dragon Ball GT ended, that was like the end of Dragon Ball for me. My brother couldn't find any Dragon Ball Z toys in Toys R Us or nothing. It was just like, it's game over, fam. All he has to wait for was like video games to come out on the PS2. And I just saw Naruto, and like, just being a dumb kid, I just saw, okay, the main character is orange and blue and he has yellow hair. Goku ripoff. Sasuke looks just like Vegeta, ripoff. Sakura, she's Sakura. And like, I don't know, I just really didn't give the show a chance. I thought it was corny, but I just saw everyone kind of joining the bandwagon and like I don't know, like Recess or whatever when I was a little kid. I just never really gave the show a chance. Then Toonami left me and dropped me like it's hot. Like, it left so quick. I just never gave Naruto a full chance. But then I bought Naruto Storm. Thought it was kind of cool. It was just kind of over the top. Then I played Naruto Storm 2, then saw Naruto versus Pain. And that changed everything. Like, I actually cared about the main character. I actually saw him as a really cool, like, dude. Like, he finally surpassed just being another Goku clone like Luffy and all the other guys. I was like, he's his own character. And I actually, like, looked through the entire show, and I just started to realize I really like it. Like, it's not a ripoff. It's just something completely different. And I know a lot of people said this is pretty obvious, but as a kid, it wasn't. Like, it was just so much of like, it's obvious, it's a ripoff, man. Look at everything else. But I looked deeper into the show, and I just really felt a bond with the main character. Granted, in the world of anime, you know, it's a little bit ridiculous that Naruto's even able to bring back Sasuke in the real world. That nigga would have got a restraining order. But I really felt Naruto's story, and especially later on in life when my mother passed and everything, I understand his reasoning of like why he feels so alone and why he wants attention and why he wants to become so great, etc., and losing a friend. I understand that. And just seeing like the overall battles, and like even though the verse is not as OP as Dragon Ball Z, I like the hand-to-hand combat. I like the overall, like the hand signs, the jutsus, everything really about it. Granted, the biggest negatives was the filler, but I got more into the manga. That's where I really fell in love with the franchise, because seeing the manga go in and out, just seeing like Sasuke fight the 5 Kages and everything. I know a lot of people like part 1 more than part 2, but that's when I started getting really into Naruto, was in part 2, so I have a natural bias towards part 2. And it became more anime-like. Don't get me wrong, part 1 was cool, but it was more of like traditional like ninja type show, and I got really more into it with the whole Naruto versus Sasuke in the Valley of the End, where it was using like the Kyuubi cloak and like the curse mark. I just like more of the like the action of it. And like when part 2 happened, just seeing the mysterious of like, how was this gonna end? You know what I mean? Because we all knew Naruto versus Sasuke round 2 was gonna happen, and just seeing like the different villains. Like Pain was my favorite villain of Naruto part 2, because he just got shit done, man. He took out one of my favorite characters, Jiraiya, which was really sad. And just learning about characters and really liking them and falling in love with them. Like Jiraiya was my boy, and I remember I used to say Jiraiya was my second favorite character, but no, my favorite character was Naruto, Sasuke. Then like in the top 5, it was like Minato, Jiraiya, Hashirama, and those guys, and Kakashi and everything. And just seeing the journey of how like Sasuke and Naruto, and how they become so powerful, yet their abilities are so different, was really cool. It was like a big difference in Goku versus Goku versus Vegeta, where their techniques were very similar, but with them it was like there was rivals, but they had different techniques. And just seeing like the verse of it, and like getting introduced to characters like Killer Bee and Raikage, you know, they fall into a lot of black stereotypes. It was still really cool to see, and like seeing even minor characters have their big moments, like Darui, which is really cool because the dude had Black Lightning. He was one of the coolest brothers on the show. And just seeing their journeys was really cool. And I felt like some characters get a little bit too much hate, like Sakura. Like I understand she was complete pain in part 1, but I think she really earned her place in part 2. And also I used to be a big like fanboy of Hinata. I was like, that's Bae goals regardless of how people feel about her. And yes, it has its moments of like some plot BS, but it's the same thing with Dragon Ball. Like I remember a lot of people was complaining about how much Kakashi started using the Kamui like a lot, or like how obvious the Toby thing turned out with the whole like, we all guessed it was Obito Uchiha, but we didn't want to believe it. We thought it was going to be something more spectacular, but it ended up being that, and the dude would not stop talking about Ren. But I guess some people that was more sympathetic than me kind of convinced me of like why his story was so sad. And it took me years to kind of start liking Obito, even though the whole Toby Madara Uchiha switch up was different. And I used to find a lot of bitterness in Naruto because of like especially at its peak around the 2013, 2014 range with the Naruto fan base, where like people used to fanboy Itachi Uchiha nonstop, and people still fanboy Madara all death. But I still like the show regardless of all that. I just remember when I was younger, I used to be in the whole Naruto based community to like try to debate which character's stronger than the other. And like now, years later on, you kind of know who is stronger. Some people are going to debate the whole Jiraiya versus Itachi and all the other stuff. But it's just so much in the Naruto mythos. And some of the filler was cool. Just one of the biggest negatives was the filler, because like dead ass 40% of Naruto Shippuden, or 30 to 40% was filler, which was really a pain to get into the anime. But when it eventually got to Naruto vs Sasuke part 2, you just like, finally, even though it was like 2 years too late, it was still pretty cool. And even though the final villain, like Kaguya and everything, wasn't the biggest, like we all wanted Madara to be the main villain, but I still think it was a pretty good twist. It was foreshadowing. She didn't come completely out of nowhere. It was foreshadowed near the end of that arc. But it had a lot of great fights, and just seeing it like, one of my favorite moments was like the Minato flashback, seeing how badass Minato was, and like the sacrifice of Kushina, and seeing Naruto fight Kurama inside his body, and just the battle between like him trying to figure out how to use that power, and just the natural progression, how powerful he got. Or just seeing how Sasuke finally accepted that like he needs to pay for his sins, so that's why he lost his arm. And even though I feel like the whole Sasuke Sakura thing was kind of like, hey, Sakura can't end up with Naruto because Kishimoto changed his mind, so like Sakura, you're with Sasuke, even though it's abusive as hell. But again, I still like the pairings end up with and everything. I was really big into the pairings. Like I think like near the end of Naruto, I was really into like the pairings, like the final boss and everything. So like when Naruto the Last happened, I kind of checked out because I felt like we got the Naruto Hinata marriage. We know the kids and everything. We know where they're all at, and they're in a peaceful world. So it's like pretty much no point to continue the story, but money. You know what I mean? And I understand how people can like Boruto and stuff like that, but it doesn't really intrigue me the way Naruto did. Just reading that manga every Wednesday and sometimes every Thursday, depending on how Weekly Shonen Jump did it, and just seeing like the progression, just always being excited every week to figure out what's going to happen. Seeing how Naruto went from like barely able to do a shadow clone to doing the Rasengan with one hand just like his dad, and just becoming the 7th Hokage. Like, he didn't look exactly like Minato like we all guessed he was going to, but he still had his own thing. And it was just really cool seeing it, man, how he was able to make most of his dreams come true. Yes, he lost a lot of people on the way, like Jiraiya, Neji, and like, even though Obito was a complete douchebag that shouldn't be forgiven, I understand how people can forgive him years later on. And like just seeing so many people that was not brought back, which Naruto had the balls to do that, even though they had some where they should have died, my guy. But it was cool seeing how like he was able to do it. He was able to bring about peace, and his whole journey was supposed to answer Jiraiya's story of like how you can make eternal peace, how you can stop war. And I kind of feel like when Boruto happened, it contradicted all of that, and it kind of put a bitter taste in my mouth. And yes, it has some moments of like showing Konohamaru be a badass and everything, but it just feels like a world that we're trying to push Naruto away because we want the next generation to step in, regardless of how much you love the older cast. And just starting off with the whole like Konoha's destroyed and like Naruto Sasuke might be dead thing, it just made me kind of distance myself away from the Naruto franchise, because I remember it was originally stated that Boruto was just be a short series, kind of like GT or whatever, and just going to be over with. But they're making it so canon to the show, just like, what was the point of Naruto, you know, having all this hype about him supposed to be the key to making eternal peace, if he's just going to be another stepping stone where we're going to have peace for about a couple decades, then we're going to roll right back to war because of like some curse marks or a special eye thanks to the like the Monoshiki and everything. And granted, I like Boruto the movie, I thought it was a pretty cool thing, but I kind of felt like it was leading up to like we need more Naruto because of how popular the franchise is. And it didn't end the way like Dragon Ball did, where like there's always a possibility that like there's going to be extra stuff. Like Naruto is more complex, where they was kind of like saying like, and Pain asked him and Madara asked him and Obito asked him like, how are you going to bring back peace without like the infinite Tsukuyomi and everything? Because by concept, infinite Tsukuyomi is like this big thing, but Naruto said he doesn't want a fake world, he wants the real world. It just felt like Boruto just was kind of like a cash grab. And even though I'm still watching and trying to figure out the show and like reading the manga and everything, I'm just not really liking it. But I can still say that I still love Naruto, the franchise before Boruto, the way it was and how much I really care for it. I still do them hand signs today, and I still see my friends talk about it, and I don't feel the need to kind of like, you know, like joke down how much I love the show, because like when Naruto ended, we had people like King of Lightning saying like how bad it ended and how much plot BS and how gay Naruto was for Sasuke, kind of like demeanize the characters I like, or like Kakashi sucks video because pretty much Kakashi started getting power up, so that automatically means his character sucks and stuff like that. But I still really like the show regardless of how like a lot of popular people in the manga anime community say it was bad. That's just my opinion, man. Naruto's my favorite character. Sasuke was my second favorite, and a lot of characters I really think was really good. And Naruto had a lot of high highs and some low lows, but I really respect those high moments, man. Tell me what you guys think about Naruto the franchise. This is kind of like a short video, just giving my personal opinion. Not trying to throw shots, just honestly being honest. I feel like that's one of the pluses with my channel. I'm not trying to like sugarcoat anything, and I'm not trying to appeal to the popular demand, like trying to say One Piece is better than Naruto, because I remember I tried to go with that narrative, and I wasn't really lying because I believed it at the time. But the more and more when Naruto was gone and One Piece continued, got more and more bored of One Piece. And when Bleach ended, I'm just like, I don't really care for this stuff. I don't really care if everyone keeps saying this is so much better than Naruto and Bleach. I prefer them more than One Piece. And I really remember how much I love Naruto, regardless of how like shonen it became with the power-ups and everything. I loved every minute of it. And I really love Naruto vs. Sasuke round 2, especially in the anime. Really good job. Really great job. So yeah, SonTj peace. Love you all.